Okay? So for today, focus muna tayo sa mga work hardening equations. No? So this is all about plastic deformation and dislocations. But we'll mainly focus on the calculations involved, no, when we talk about plastic deformation and yung relationship na with dislocation in general, no. Okay, so to facilitate this, let me just refresh your memories on what the difference between sigma engineering is versus sigma true, no, or that is the engineering stress and strains versus the true stress and strains that the material experiences, no. So if we were to graph it will look something like this, no? Okay? So sa elastic region, parehas lang sila. Pero once it proceeds to the plastic region, um, nag-iiba yung trend, no? You can see that the true stress strain actually is always increasing, no? Pero sa engineering stress strain, it will peak at a maximum load and go down as it begins to fracture, no? So the main difference why magkaiba yung itsura nila is because of yung how we calculate the engineering stress and strains, no? Because when we calculate engineering stress, we always assume that the area is constant, no? So for example, ang stress dito at any point will always have a constant na cross-sectional area. Okay, pero that's not necessarily the case, no? Because when we expose our material to tensile testing, as the material is being stretched out, uh, lumiliit yung cross-sectional area niya. Tama? And you can imagine this if you have for example, may ano kayo, no? Rubber kunwari, tapos try nyo lang i-stretch yung isang rubber. You will notice na as you begin to stretch it out, parang nagiging mas manipis yung ano niya, cross-sectional area, no? And this is a consequence of the conservation of volume, no? Because if you are lengthening it on one side, then therefore the other two sides should be shortening, no, uh, to compensate and have equal volume from the initial versus the final. Okay? So, essentially, ang stress strain diagram, engineering stress strain diagram, I should say, is just a force versus change in length na diagram. No? Pero in an engineering sense, mas gusto kasi natin makuha yung stress, kaya natin siya divide uh, by A naught. Pero when it is actually plotted dun sa whatever software we use, actually, ang ginagamit lang niya is forces lang, no? It tracks the forces needed to stretch the material. Tapos, tsaka na lang niya dinidivide by the constant A naught, no? Okay? So, kaya pataas siya na pataas at to a certain maximum load, tapos bumababa na siya. Okay? Tapos, dito naman sa strain, when we compute for strains, ang kinukuha natin from engineering is change in length over original length lang siya. Okay? So again, hindi siya necessarily the case, no, kasi yung um yung sa true strain natin, ang kino-compute natin is the instantaneous length natin divided or the change in length or let me just para mas malinaw siguro dito. When we do let me ito yung true. Tapos nandito ay yung engineering. Pag true, ang ginagamit natin is usually S yung symbol na ginagamit natin, no? Pero pwede rin sigma E. And yung main reference natin ganito yung notation niya. So let's just use this notation, no, para consistent tayo. Tapos sigma true, this is for stress, no? Tapos dito sa engineering, it's epsilon T. Tapos dito naman epsilon E. To signify na engineering siya. Okay? So, yung engineering stress is equal to force over area. So whatever force is needed, divide mo lang sa original area. When sa true stress, it's the instantaneous force needed over the instantaneous area. Okay? Tapos si strain naman, we compute this by taking the change in length, or that's taking LF minus yung initial, and para mas malino, no? You take Li instantaneous, so kung at what strain level kayo nagme-measure, minus the L naught, which is the original or the initial, tapos divided by L naught. Ganun siya mini-measure, no? Pero when we want to take the true strain, ang kinukuha natin is the infinitesimal change in length over its length. Okay? So, hindi ko na ipapakita yung derivation, no? Pero these two are actually related, no? So, if we do the calculations, you will figure out that the relationship between the two of them is equal to this one. Okay? So that is saying na yung true natin na stress is equal to sigma engineering multiplied by 1 plus epsilon engineering. Tapos yung true strain natin is equal to ln times 1 plus engineering strain. And I can probably leave this as an assignment to you guys, no? Just try to, hindi siya recorded assignment, just something to practice on, no? Try nyo i-derive yung true strain from our engineering strain. True stress and strains from the engineering stress and strains. Okay? So, one thing to note about this, itong true stresses, no? Hindi siya, sorry, maingay sa labas. Ano ba nangyayari? Okay, anyway. Yung ano natin, yung true strain natin or true stresses natin is hindi siya nakakapag predict past the necking point, no? So we remember na si necking or the model, itong model na to, nagbe-breakdown siya past the necking point. So itong necking point is when we have maximum load, tama? So if naalala nyo, ito yung UTS natin or the ultimate tensile strength. And usually when we have the ultimate tensile strength, past the ultimate tensile strength, nagkakaroon na tayo ng mga micro voids, no? And these micro voids, because of the micro voids doon sa loob ng ano natin, material natin, will drastically decrease the amount of stresses na kailangan or drastically change the stress resistance of our material past the necking point, no? Kasi nga doon sa mga microvoids na yun. Okay? So, ang nangyayari is we have a sharp drop-off, no? Itong maximum load na to bukod doon sa yung sa hindi in-account for yung A naught natin. Okay? So, dito sa ano na to, itong part na to from A prime to B prime, this is just actually an ano na, no? Parang interpolation na lang siya or extrapolation na lang. So we extrapolate where the B prime should be given that we are. And actually may merong mga different calculations to compute for the true strain past the necking point. Pero hindi na natin i-cover sa lesson na to, no? Okay? So, but before the necking point, this these relationship hold true, no? Okay? So, we proceed with the first na parang work hardening equation natin, which is yung Considier's criterion. And ang sabi ng criterion na to is that at the onset of necking, which is dito sa point where we have maximum load, no, or yung point na mayroon tayong UTS, we have an assumption that necking will begin here. Okay, and this is also true, no, because when we look at the mga empirical tests, we can also see or observe na nagne-neck nga siya when it comes to the maximum point. And at this maximum point, this type of relationship exists, no? Itong d sigma t over d sigma et is equal to sigma t. Okay? So what this means is, if we look at the so ang ibig sabihin niyan is, if we have a stress strain diagram. So kunwari ganito yung stress strain diagram natin, no? Okay? Tapos, itong sa stress strain diagram natin, dito sa maximum point, ang sinasabi niya is, if yung d sigma over d epsilon, and this is in terms of true strength, so it's more appropriate na gamitin natin ay yung true pala. Okay? So, ito-drawing ko both na lang. So, we have ito. Drawing natin yung true strain, which is straight pata siya, no? So, at this point, don't sa true, and it's probably somewhere here, no? Yung magiging ano niya. Parang ganyan. Okay? So, at this particular point, parang sinasabi natin na whenever the slope, so if you imagine na each point dito, meron siyang slope, no? Tama? We can take a instantaneous slope dito wherein i-measure natin yung change yung infinitesimal change in sigma over infinitesimal change in epsilon, no? So parang sinasabi dito is dy dx. Tama? Kasi when we do stress strain diagrams, we are actually measuring sigma versus epsilon. Okay, so this is our y-axis, this is our x-axis. So if you take d sigma over d epsilon, that is saying that this is the slope, no? Okay, so pagka whenever we have a condition wherein the slope is now equal to the recorded strain, and we use the true values, no? Then we have the maximum point of loading. Okay, so nandito siya. So how do we derive this? So it starts off with, I don't know, let's say for example, meron tayong force. So again, etong graph na to, this is actually just a force versus strain, na our force versus change in length graph, no? And force is equal to yung stress natin multiplied by the area. Tama? Kasi kung babalik rin natin, magiging stress is equal to force over area. Therefore, force is equal to stress over area. Okay? Stress sigma over area. Okay? So if you get df, so if you want to maximize to get the point of maximum loading, gagawin natin is df over of d sigma a. Tama? And we equate this to be 0. Okay, so why do we equate this to 0? Kasi ganun natin kinukuha yung maximum, no? If we get df is equal to 0, that is the optimization or getting the maxima of a particular function, no? So if you get that, this becomes d sigma a or a d sigma plus sigma dA. Okay? So this is an important relationship class, no? Ito. A d sigma plus sigma dA. So ibig sabihin lang nito is, as you progress in the plastic deformation, you are saying na yung yung decrease ng load bearing capacity ng isang material because of the reduction. So if you look at this, ito, no? Itong part na to, this is saying na yung load bearing capacity ng isang material natin is nagde-decrease dahil lumiliit yung area natin. Tama? Kasi there is a changing area as you progress towards the plastic deformation or itong plastic region. So, tapos dito naman, opposite yung ang sinasabi dito. Parang sinasabi dito is nag-i-increase naman yung load bearing capacity ng material natin dahil sa effects ng strain hardening. Okay, so this one is due to strain hardening, and ito naman is due to reduction of area. Okay, so ang sinasabi sa relationship na to is that as you proceed with the plastic region, your load bearing capacity is reduced by the reduction of area, but this is offset by the amount of strain hardening by the amount of strain hardening na na-experience ng material natin as we plastically deform it. So parang nag-offset sila, nagbabalance out each other. Now, to get the optimum, we just equate it equal to 0. And therefore, magiging ano to, no? A D naught, D sigma is equal to sigma negative ng sigma dA. So, yung negative na to, again, yung relationship nila is opposite, no? Pag nag-i-increase siya dahil doon sa, or pag nagdi-decrease siya dahil sa reduction of area, nag-i-increase siya dahil sa strain hardening effects. Okay? Now, to get the final ito, para makuha natin yung D epsilon, no? Ang gagawin lang natin is, lipat natin yung A sa kabila. Tapos, we remember that yung ano natin, we have constancy of volume, no? Kung constant yung volume natin, therefore, dapat si volume is equal to length times area. Tama, no? Length times area siya. So, if you want to get dV, so if you get dV, magiging D, we get, you know, kung kukunin natin dV, then we are getting D of length times area. Tama? Tapos, i-expand natin ulit to using, ano, no? Paano ba tawag doon? Product rule ba? Nakalimutan ko na. Product rule, I think. So, magiging ADL to plus. I hope you still remember your ano, math. Ano math pa to? 1, no? Math 54 to sa amin eh. Pero hindi ko na alam kung anong math sa inyo to. 10 something ata yun sa inyo. Anyway. Na-discuss naman to sa math, no? Itong nga ganito. Yung product rule, differentiation. Math 21. Okay, 21 pala sa inyo. Okay? So, math 21, 22. Yun yung ano yun, no? Math. Okay? So, itong pag in-expand mo to, magiging ganito siya. So, dV. And since we're saying na constant yung volume, then dV is equal to 0, no? So, we have 0 is equal to ADL plus LDA. And if we rearrange the terms, no, we get ADL over L negative is equal to dA over A. Tama? So, we just substitute this value dito. So, we get D sigma is equal to negative sigma. Oh, matatanggal yung negative, no? Kasi negative to. Is equal to DL over L. Tama? And if you remember, itong DL over L, ito yung equation ng ano, sigma, no? Sabi natin na sigma, the true sigma, is equal to DL over L. Tama? So, instantaneous change in length siya. So, we get D sigma, palitan natin ng D epsilon to. Ganyan pala, sorry. D epsilon is equal to DL over L. So, we get, and isa to sa clues, class, no? If you want to solve the, if you want to solve the relationship between engineering and true, ito yung gagamitin nyo. So, this becomes epsilon T is equal to ln ng L. Parang ganyan. Kasi, kung i-integrate mo. Anyway. Pero hindi natin gagawin siya ngayon. No? So, this becomes the epsilon is equal to sigma. And we are dealing with true stresses and strains here. So, kaya siya ganyan. So, that is where the considered criterion comes from. No? Okay? So, later, we'll have an example no, of how we can use this considered criteria. So, the next natin na work hardening equation is an empirical one. So, this is when you try to, and this was discussed a bit, no? Doon sa nag-ano tayo, ang tawag dito, talk about tayo ng mga strengthening mechanisms of metals. We touched on this equation briefly and saying na yung amount of stresses or yung stress needed to continually deform a material, which is known as your flow stress, no? The flow stress is proportional to your grain size, no? So the parang negative square root, tama ba? Ng grain size natin. Okay? So that relationship also holds true for the dislocation density, no? So if we compute it, parang ano siya, we have something that looks like this. Pagka pinlot natin yung stress versus yung average na grain size natin. Then, and that, or sorry, pagka pinlot natin yung stress natin with the average na dislocation density, then we will have a linear na relationship, no? If the dislocation density were plotted um, as the square root of the dislocation density, no? Okay? So, we get this relationship, no? Wait lang. Parang may mali. Dalawa dapat to. So, let me just do two equations. Ito. And this is specifically yung tau, no? Yung shear stresses. Pero meron din tayong equation that deals with sigma, no? Just copy this. Para ganyan. Okay. So again, ito ay isang isa tong empirical equation, no, which in na from experimentation nakuha natin yung relationship between stress and the dislocation density, and it appears as this one, no. So notice na etong sigma naught and the k here, both in both cases, no, si k is just equal to yung slope of the equation of the line, no? So if you get this line, yung slope niya, that's equal to k. Tapos if you extrapolate it hanggang 0 na dislocation density, so that's here, that will be our sigma naught and our tau naught, no? Okay, pero if you really think about it, no, dapat if you have a 0 na dislocation density, that is saying na wala kang dislocations. So parang perfect crystal yan, no? If you have perfect crystal, then dapat hindi nagde-deform yung metal mo, no? Tama? Or iba yung, or kumbaga, mas mataas yung stresses actually na kailangan niya kasi perfect crystal siya. So walang slipping na nangyayari. So we will think of etong sigma naught and tau naught as not a physical property, no? Hindi siya physical property, pero more of ano lang talaga siya, convenient constants, no? Para ma-describe yung equation. Kasi hindi nga naman nag-make sense na at sigma at as a dislocation density equal to 0, mababa yung magiging stress value niya. Okay? I hope that makes sense, no? Okay? So, we can show it in this manner, yung sigma, pero it is more appropriate na gamitin natin yung tau because again, when we talk about stresses, usually what causes slipping in terms of parang ano, no, deformation, plastic deformation, it's always caused by slipping, no, and slipping is associated with shear stresses rather than normal stresses. So that's why mas appropriate na tau yung gamitin natin. So usually pagka shear stress ang binibigyan nating symbol is tau, tapos pagka normal stress is sigma, no. Although sigma is a general term, pwede siyang tau or shear. Minsan in some textbooks ang ginagawa nila, it says instead of using sigma or instead of using tau, parang sigma shear yung sinusulat nila. Pero it's a matter of ano lang, no, parang convention. Okay? So parang ang sinasabi dito is if your dislocation density increases, then therefore your resistance um, to further plastic deformation also increases, no, or tumataas yung needed na plastic deformation for you or tumataas yung stress requirement for you to continuously plastically deform your material. Okay, and again, from the strengthening mechanism na discussion natin, no, we figured out na this is because of yung resistance ng material natin to dislocation movement. So the more we try to resist, or the easier it is to hinder the dislocation movement, then the higher the parang resistance is to plastic deformation. Okay? So if we increase the number of dislocations, we create dislocation forests, and this dislocation forest will 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 eventually hinder the movement of the other dislocations that are being formed. No? Okay. Now this is another relationship by Taylor. Taylor postulates na yung relationship ng tao natin, yung shear stress needed to cause slipping is equal to is proportional to the um, to some constant mu multiplied by the Berger's vector divided by the distance, the average distance between the dislocations. No? So since mu is a constant and k is also a constant, we can actually relate this in terms of I don't know dislocation density. So let's try to do that now. So yung mu natin is what we call as your shear modulus, no? So this is a material constant. Tapos yung B is the Berger's vector of the dislocation. Berger's vector. So you're familiar with these terms, no? Itong Berger's vector from Math 11. Tapos yung R natin is the average distance between the dislocations. Okay, so let's just say na meron tayong ano no, grid. Para ganyan. And if you want to get the average distance, and let's just say na ang ano natin, Berger's vector natin is, or let's just say na ang ano natin, dislocations are located uniformly across this ano no, Berger's vector, across this area, no? So for example, parang ganyan. Okay? So uniform yung displacement niya. So if we say, for example, na ito is 3 units kunwari, 2, 3. Ito is 4 units. Then yung average na number of dislocation within this area is equal to itong i-count natin yung one side. Let me think about the class now. Pull out ko muna yung calculator ko. So, magiging 12 siya. Pangit pala yung drawing ko. Mas maganda if ang ginawa ko is sige, okay na to. Yan na lang. So, ang gawin ko na lang is eto grid ko para mas ma-imagine natin. Eto na lang yung dislocations natin. So, equally spaced sila inside the grid. No? Para ganyan lang siya. Yan. So, if you try to count this, and this is 3 units kunwari, no? And I'm using units para mas general siya, no? 3 units in size, tapos 4 units in size din siya dito. Then I can say na yung average distance nila is actually just 1 unit, no? So we can see na tig 1 unit lang yung distance nila. Tama? So if you can see here is yung distance na to is 1 unit. Tapos ito is also 1 unit. So the average distance between each dislocation is just 1 unit. Tapos if we try to measure the dislocation density, which is the number of dislocations divided by the area. Okay? So you'll see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 12 dislocations divided by the area, which is 3 units times 12. 3 units times 4 gives us 12. And therefore, we have 1. And if we take the reciprocal, then we get, if we take the reciprocal of the dislocation density, that is actually the average, or hindi masyadong obvious no kasi 1 lang kasi to. Pero if we take the reciprocal of the square root of the densities, this will actually equal the average na distance, no? Average distance of this is equal to r. So, mas makikita siguro natin if we say na tig 2 units to, no? So, let's just say 2 units tong each length na to is 2 units, no? So, if that's 2 units, this becomes 6 and this becomes, if that's 1, 2, 3, 4, that becomes 8, no? Tama? So, this now becomes our dislocation density is 12 divided by 48. Tama? So, if we calculate that, 12 over 48, that becomes 0.25. Tama? And if we take the reciprocal ng 0.25, 1 over 0.25, so we take the square root of 0.25, tapos kukunin natin yung reciprocal niya, we get reciprocal, the square root of 0.25 is equal to 0.5. And if you take 1 over 0.5, that is equal to 2, which is equal to r. Which is in this case, tama naman siya, no? Kasi we set that each length is 1 unit. Okay? So, with that said, yung r natin, pwede natin palitan to just equal 1 over the reciprocal of the square root of the dislocation density. Okay? So, if babalik tayo sa not Oro-One's, Taylor's relation, then if we combine all the constants into one constant k, then we get something that looks like this, no? So that becomes the shear stress is equal to some constant k kasi this is a proportionality, no? So it's equal to some constant k and nakapasok na dito si shear modulus and plus the Berger's vector, no? Pinasok na rin siya. So mu b are all incorporated into this constant multiplied by the square root of the dislocation density. Kasi nasa baba si R and R is equal to again 1 over square root of density. Then therefore, itong 1 over R is equal to just square root of the density. No? So we have Taylor's relation. No? So both itong Taylor's relation na to, which is based on based on meron siyang theoretical basis, kumbaga, agrees with the empirical na observations, no, that the tau or the shear stress needed is directly proportional to um, the the reciprocal of the square root of the dislocation density. Okay. Now, yung last natin is yung Oro-One's equation, and I'm sure you've heard of the Oro-One's equation before. And try natin naman i-derive yung Oro-One's equation. No? So let's derive the Oro-One's equation. So to do this, we will imagine na meron tayong the simplest way to imagine it is meron tayong ganito. So this is a slip plane. Tapos itong slip plane natin, meron tayong plane sa baba. And wag natin yung equal. No? Meron din tayong plane sa taas. Okay? Parang ganyan siya. Yun yung best way na ma-imagine natin to, no? Tapos meron tayong dislocation that is passing across our slip plane, no? Okay? Ganyan. Okay? I hope you can imagine it, no? So, meron tayong slip plane dito. Ito yung slip plane natin. Tapos, meron tayong isang dislocation, this one. This green line. Passing through the slip plane, no? So, ito yung slip plane natin. This edge dislocation it's moving towards the slip lane, or it's moving uh, along the slip lane towards this direction. So papunta siya dyan. Okay? So if the slip lane were to fully ano no, or kung yung itong edge dislocation na to were to fully um translate papunta dito sa end ng parang crystal na to, then we should get, if you look at it from the side view, pwede nating makuha yung itsura na parang ganyan, no? Tama? Yun yung parang imagination natin sa kanya. Meron tayong certain displacement para sa ano natin, sa dislocation na to. So it moves by one Burgers vector to the right, tapos ito nag-move into the right if it were to ano no, fully translate dun sa other side. Okay? So we can actually compute um, for the gamma dito, no? And we call this gamma as uh, the shear stress. Ano, sorry. Gamma is known as your shear strain, no? Sa itong shear strain. So, di ba, we can measure strain in many ways, no? So, yung common na ways na mag-measure tayo ng strain is either epsilon change in L over L naught, pwede ring change in area over A naught. And another way to measure strain is through the shear strain, no? So, pag shear strain naman, we give it a symbol of uh, gamma. And gamma is equal to yung change in X niya over change in Y. Okay? Tama. And let me just sorry. Change in X over uh, Y naught, no? Parang ganyan siya. So Y naught. Okay, so if it's in terms of this one, so pwede nating ilagay na lang ng labels, no? So we say na ito yung height. Tapos ito is, let's say, length to. Tapos ito dito, this is our width, kunwari. Okay? Or babalik ta rin ko, no? Kasi marang mas appropriate. Although, usually yung width natin is the second shortest. Although wala namang nakalagay kung ano yung longest length, no? So, gawin ko na lang na ito yung length kasi mas okay yung length na gamitin natin dito kasi pwede natin describe nito as the length of the dislocation, no? So, gawin na lang natin ito yung width natin. Okay? Or better yet, para hindi tayo ma-confuse, gawin na natin x to. So, let x. So, we have h, the height. X is itong distance that is being traversed by the edge dislocation, and L is the length of the dislocation, which in this case is also the length of the parang crystal, no? So, ang gagawin natin is, if we want to compute for the sigma, we say that the shear strain is equal to yung if it has fully translated dito sa right side na to, then it's equal to the change in X, and the change in X, itong displacement na to. So shear strain is measuring this one. No? Ito yung mini-measure natin. Kung gaano ka laki yung parang shearing na ginawa natin dito sa top part na to relative to the bottom part. Okay? Because the shear stress is parang ito yung force that is acting upon the object dun sa taas, and it is shearing. So ito yung it's acting on both sides. It's shearing the upper part and the lower part, no? And this is caused by stresses, and yung effect nito is the movement of the dislocations, no? When we look at it from a internal structure na standpoint. Okay? So ito, nag-move tayo ng dislocation, tapos ito, i-measure natin yung amount of shear strain, no? Okay? So, if this is the displacement, then we can say na equal lang to sa Burgers vector. Tama? Kasi yung yung amount na minumove ng isang edge dislocation, if you remember, is just equal to the Burgers vector. No? So, this is the Burgers vector. Then the shear strain is equal to Burgers vector divided by height. Tama? Which is etong height na to. That's the shear strain. Pero let's say, for example, na hindi pa siya totally nag-translate. No? So, ang ginagawa natin is parang yung edge dislocation natin is somewhere in the middle pa lang. Parang ganyan. So, kumbaga, hindi pa fully nag-translate yung edge dislocation natin. Siguro somewhere dito pa lang siya. Tama? Kung somewhere dito pa lang siya, therefore, hindi pa fully B yung length niya. It's only a proportion of the X that it needs to travel. Tama? So, and this can be translated dito sa diagram na to. No? So, para siyang nandito pa lang ang edge dislocation natin, hindi pa fully nag-traverse papunta dito. So, since hindi pa siya, kunwari, if it has gone halfway, then therefore, itong B na to, or itong change in X na to, if this is your X, and this is change in X, then change in X here is equal to 1/2 the B. Kasi yung B yung pag 100% na umabot yung dislocation dito. Tama? So, if it's 1/4 of the way, then it's equal to 1/4 ng B. Okay? So, proportional siya kung gaano kalayo yung na-travel ng dislocation natin. Okay? So, if that's the case, then therefore, pagka ang ano natin, yung sigma natin, if the dislocation is still in motion, no, is just equal to delta X. Parang yung amount of shear strain na ginagawa niya is delta X over X, which is saying na only a fraction of the Burgers vector divided by H. Okay? So, if ganito siya, so we can say na equal to sa delta X times B over X times H. Tapos, i-multiply lang natin by width, no? I-multiply lang natin by length of the dislocation, which is also the length of this crystal. Then we can say na etong bottom part is just volume, no? Tama? It's height, itong height times the X times the length. Tama? This is just volume, itong term na to. So this is volume. Tapos delta X times the Burgers vector times length, no? Okay? Now, if we say na meron tayong n number of dislocations na nagta-travel dito. So kunwari, we have multiple dislocations, parang ganyan. So if you have a dislocation over here, meron din tayong dislocations over here. So if we want to get the total strain, we just multiply this value by the number of dislocations na nagpa-pass through. Okay, so yung magiging total na shear stress niya is just equal to n times delta X times B times L over volume. Okay? Now, etong delta X na to multiplied by your length over volume is just equal to dislocation density. I'm sorry. Etong term na to, etong N, B, and, N, L, and V, this is saying na yung number of dislocations multiplied by the length of the dislocation divided by the volume occupied by the dislocation. This is actually just dislocation density. So, kasi there are two ways of measuring densities, no? Dislocation density. It's either you measure the number of dislocations, kunwari ganyan, edge dislocations as viewed in a plane. So, parang sinasabi natin is, if you view it from the side view, ilang dislocations ang meron dito over this entire area. So, pwedeng ganyan, yung pag-measure ng dislocation density, or pwede rin yung length, total length ng dislocation. So, for example, if you have a volume na kunwari ganyan, tapos may multiple dislocations ka, and let's just say mixed dislocations siya, no? So, it can have multiple lengths. If you take the total length na to, divided by the overall volume, then you also get the dislocation density. So that's two ways of measuring dislocation density. And dislocation density will always have the units of 1 over meter squared. Okay? Or meter, ito yung SI units niya, meters to the negative 2. So ito, magiging meter per meter cube. Kaya meter to the negative 2 pa rin siya. Tapos kung yung ano naman, measuring the number of dislocations per unit area, that is also 1 over meter squared yung magiging ano niya, units. Okay? So itong NL times V is just a measure of dislocation density. So pwede natin siyang substitute, no? So magiging dislocation density times B times delta X. Okay? Now, what we want to do here is i-divide natin lahat ng terms by T. So, ito siya, sigma is equal to rho B delta X siya ngayon, no? So, if we divide this by time, by a time component, so over T, we should get, extend ko lang. Ang makukuha natin na final is we have strain rate. So, di ba, this is the amount of shear strain per unit time. So that's actually a strain rate na term, no? And usually when we talk about strain rates, lalagyan natin lang na, or kung rates yung pinag-usapan natin, ang notation is to add a dot over the, I don't know. So if you see a symbol like this means na this is shear strain rate. Pag nakita nyo naman is ganyan, kunwari, then that means that is a linear na strain rate. Okay? So this means na this is shear strain rate is equal to rho B times the delta X. This is the distance it travels divided by the total time it travels. So that's actually a measure of velocity. Tama? So that is how fast the dislocation is moving. And in this case, it's how fast it's moving across the slip plane from left to right. Okay? So we have the common or the well-known equation of the Oro-1's equation, which is sigma is equal to rho BB. So yan yung pag-derive ng equation na yan. So what does Oro-1's equation say? Sinasabi dito that the dislocation density will affect the strain rate. No? So the higher the dislocation density, the faster the strain rate becomes. Tapos the faster the dislocation also travels, then also the higher the strain rate also becomes. No? And strain rates are particularly important, no, when studying, lalo na pag nagsa-study kayo ng plastic deformation. So for example, if you do something like parang you are studying the strain hardening effects of particular metal, it is always particularly important na i-add nyo sa factors nyo, or at least ibanggitin nyo kung ano yung strain rate na ginamit nyo. Kasi different na strain rates will give you different na behaviors in terms of strain hardening. Okay? So usually makikita naman yan, no? Almost all of the graphs will, kunwari, if they followed the standard na ASTM na ano, no, protocol, then if you have a stress strain diagram, usually nasa baba, sasabihin niya kung anong strain rate ang gamit niya. So parang sasabihin niya na this graph was generated using a strain rate of ganyan. And usually yung mga UTM ngayon, lalo na yung mga bago, no, na may computer, may software na nakasama, pwede mo i-set actually kung ano yung strain rate. So this is a whole field, no, na pwede nyong pasukin. And actually isa to sa mga research interest ko din. So yung effect ng yung strain hardening effects in relation to yung strain hardening, no, parang it's an interesting field. And if you're into physical metallurgy, no, this can be one of the thesis topics na pwede nyong gawin pagka eventually nag-research na kayo. Okay, so that's for Oro-1's equation. So we end up with, balik tayo dun sa slide. If we do the calculation, we should end up with something that looks like sigma rho BV strain rate yung sinabi ko, no. Pero once you can approximate the strain rate, the shear strain rate, uh, or you can approximate the linear strain rate with this equation, no. Half of the shear strain rate is equal to nakalimutan ko kung wait lang. Hmm, there is a term here. What is the term? Okay. Yung Schmidt orientation factor pala yung tawag, no? Okay. So, yung Schmidt orientation factor states that the linear na strain rate natin is equal to just 1/2 of the shear strain rate. Okay? So, if we do this, ipasok natin sa equation na to, we will end up with the sigma, the epsilon, the linear strain rate is equal to 1/2 of rho BV. And that is your Oro-1's equation. No? Okay. So, kaya ganito yung final form natin. Okay. So, let's do some examples, no? Try natin to. Number 1, a tensile test was made on a specimen that had a cylindrical gauge section with a diameter of 10 millimeters and a length of 40 millimeters. After fracture, the total length of the gauge section was found to be 50 millimeters and the reduction in area is 90%. And the load at fracture is 1,000 newtons. So we are to compute the specimen elongation, the engineering fracture strength, the true fracture strengths, ignoring the correlation for triaxiality at the neck. So ito, this is just provided for accuracy, pero pwede nyo i-ignore lang tong statement at Tapos, the true strain at the neck, no? That is saying na nung portion na nagkaroon tayo ng necking. Okay? So first, let's do the specimen elongation muna. So the way we do this is we get the initial muna, which is 40, and the final is 50. So if you want to get the engineering stress rate, then we just get delta of L. So that's 10 divided by, specimen elongation lang pala siya. So delta L lang, which is equal to 10 cm. But if you were to get the linear strain, engineering strain, then we can divide this 10 by the original, which is 40, to get the percent elongation. No? Pero yung tinanong lang pala sa problem is specimen elongation lang. So, hindi nyo na kailangan i-divide. Okay? Next is the engineering fracture stress. So, to compute for engineering fracture stress, gagawin lang natin is to take the fracture stress at the moment of fracture. So, sabi sa problem, at the moment of fracture, the stress was 1,000 N. So, para mas ma-imagine siya, parang dito siya na, kung ano yung corresponding, if you were given a stress strain diagram instead, no, para makuha yon, kunin nyo lang kung nasaan tong stress na to at fracture. So, this is at fracture, no. So, just to refresh your memories, no, ito yung um, at this portion, meron tayong yield stress. So, na-mention ko earlier sa na itong yield stress na to actually is hindi pala, nasa pa pala yun. So, 177 pala yung ma-mention. No? Although sa Math E11 na I think na-mention naman, you remember na this actually is consist of itong 1 point na to actually consist of multiple points, no? So meron tayong elastic limit or meron tayong elastic limit or the proportionality limit. Tapos meron tayong yield stress, tapos meron tayong offset stress, no? All of which are different from each other, no? Pero in practice, etong point na to can be considered as just one point, no? And we just refer to it as the yield stress. Okay? So ito, yield stress siya. Tapos after yielding, magkakaroon tayo ng ultimate tensile stress wherein this is the region wherein necking starts to occur. Then after beyond that, meron tayong fracture stress. Okay? So ito siya. So so if we were given the graph instead of the exact value, no, so pwede pa rin natin ma-extrapolate siya, no? or interpolate siya. So, kunin lang natin tong B, kung saan siya tumama sa y-axis, then that is your stress at fracture. Okay, so we get the stress at fracture divided by we get the force needed at fracture, then divided by A naught, then we get the engineering stress. Although dun sa graph pala na yun, automatic pala naka-engineering stress na siya, no? So, hindi nyo kailangan i-divide by A naught. Okay. So, yan. 100. Tapos, ang sabi daw kasi is yung area natin is ang gauge length niya at ang gauge diameter of the specimen is 10 millimeters. Okay, so that's if you do pi over 4 times d d squared, or ang ginawa niya dito is pi r squared. So that's pi over 5 times 10 to the negative 3 meters gives us this value of pascals. Or what you can do is pwede ring naka-millimeters to, tapos if Newton siya divided by millimeters, automatic magiging megapascals yung ano, no. So that's one parang shortcut you can do, class, no. You can express the area at this at the denominator as millimeters, tapos ang lalabas dito is a megapascal value. Okay? So, tama nga ba? 1,000 divided by 5 times pi r squared pa pala to. Okay, so ito dapat yung lalabas, which gives us a fracture strength of 12.73. Yan, pwede siguro natin ipakita, no? Hindi na. Okay na yun. Okay. So, next nating isosolve is itong true fracture stress, ignoring the correction for triaxiality at the neck. Again, that's just added for accuracy, no? So, true fracture is equal to the instantaneous na pagka true stress yung kinocompute natin, we always take the instantaneous na area instead of the initial area, no? So, we have 1,000 divided by yung instantaneous natin na area is equal to, and based on the problem, meron daw reduction in area by 90%. Therefore, yung final area natin is just equal to 10% of the original area. So, if we multiply it by 0.1 dun sa baba, so we have 0.1 times the initial area, we should get 127.3 megapascals. So, yun yung magiging I don't know, it's actually 10 times more than the engineering na stress, no? Yung magiging true stress value natin at fracture. So, true straining at the neck is equal to, again, ito siya, magiging ln, L over L naught siya. So, hindi ko pala napakita to na maayos, no? So, let me just balikan natin to. So, we remember that yung d epsilon natin is equal to dl over L. So, if you want to take the epsilon at any point along the yung stress strain diagram, para ganyan. Tapos gusto natin makuha yung kumari at this point, then we take it from L naught papunta sa L value na to, or sorry, we are measuring it from, tama nga, yung L niya from the beginning, tapos L niya sa final or instantaneous. Let's say instantaneous. No? Kasi yung final, usually when we talk about final, dito sa dulo na yun, no? Kung saan siya nag-fracture. Okay? So, if you want to take the integral, kung i-integrate natin to, magiging sigma is equal to ln L evaluated from L naught to instantaneous length, and which will give us ln L minus ln Li minus ln L naught, which is, kung i-simplify mo, gives us ln of Li over L naught. Okay? So, kaya yung formula dito is shown this way, no? Where L is the instantaneous length, tapos yung A natin yung L naught natin is the L naught is the original length. Okay? So, to solve this, wala kasing information given to us, yung length na information hindi natin alam at necking, pero alam natin yung yung information ng necking in terms of area, tama? So, sabi kasi dito is after fracture total length of the gauge was found to be in load. Wait lang. And the length of 40 millimeters. Oh, wait lang. Wala namang sinabi. May kulang ata sa given. $40. So, yun yung medyo kulang dito sa problem, no? Hindi sinabi yung necking conditions. Kung ano yung walang sinabi na length or walang sinabi na area, no? Okay. Pero bakit ang ginamit niya is kinumpute niya actually yung at the fracture, no? Pero ang tinatanong is true strain at the neck, eh. So, kulang yung information class, no, para ma-solve natin dito. Pero tama naman 'tong equation na ginamit niya, na ang ginamit niya is yung instantaneous length na ginamit niya is yung parang final length na, which is yung 50 when it had fracture. So kaya ang nakalagay dito is the true strain at fracture. So that's the length at the fracture is 50, tapos initial length natin is 40. So if you take ln of 50 over 40 gives us 0.223. So hindi ko alam. Wait lang. Ito na dapat yun. 0.223. Okay? So, i-review ko to class, no, kung bakit ganito. Pero dapat yung sigma t natin at fracture should be equal to this value lang, no? Kinompute niya yung sigma t at fracture in terms of yung radial, no? Yung kumbaga yung in terms of area. So kaya siya 0.1 over 1 kasi yung ln natin, L over L naught can also be expressed as ln A naught over A because tulad ng ginawa natin sa continuous equation, no? Ang sabi natin na yung D of volume is equal to, or kasi sabi natin D volume is equal to D ng L times A, which is D ADL plus LDA. And since volume is not changing, so may constantly of volume tayo, dV should be equal to 0. Therefore, ADL is equal to a negative LDA, which gives us A over DA, or like that, gawin natin, gives us DL over L is equal to DA over A. Okay, so negative sila of each other. Okay, so kaya pag pinasok mo siya dito sa equation natin, magiging D sigma E is equal to negative dA over A Tapos pag in-evaluate natin to magiging epsilon is equal to negative ln over L, or parang instead of negative ln over L, pwede siya maging ln over 1 over L. Tama? Kasi ganun nag-work yung mga ln. So pag in-evaluate natin siya from A to A naught to A instantaneous, ang mangyayari is we end up with sigma is equal to ln A naught over AI. So parang baliktad dito. Okay? So kaya sa equation na to, you see it, dalawa yung forms ano. It's either L over L naught, and again L dito is instantaneous, tas A dito is instantaneous din. Is equal to ln A naught over L, so over A. So baliktad siya. Okay? So you can use either, no. This one is a linear na strain, this one is a radial na strain, no. So again, ang kinukuha natin dito is strains at fracture, no? Linear strain at fracture, radial strain at fracture. Ito. Pero notice na ang tinatanong sa problem is true strain at the neck, no? So kaya medyo weird tong bakit niya kinuha tong values na to. Pero anyway, okay lang 'yun. So we can also try this, no? A typical crosshead speed in a tensile test machine is 0.2 inches per minute. What is the nominal engineering rate, strain rate imposed by this crosshead speed on a typical engineering tensile specimen with a 2-inch gauge length? Tapos we are to estimate the dislocation velocity also that will be obtained from the strain rate and assume a Burgers vector of 0.248. Tapos last is if in a very slow tensile state, that is 10 to the negative second strain, and strain has a unitless value class, no? So kaya siya ano lang s to the negative 1 or per second lang yung unit niya kasi unitless ang strain. So is used to in B, what dislocation velocity would be expected in the above iron specimen. Okay. So for strain rate, this is engineering strain rate, no? So ang gagawin lang natin is we just multiply 0.2 inches per minute and we divide it by 2 inches, no? So kasi um yung engineering natin na stress is just equal to or engineering strain natin is just equal to change in length over the original length. Tama? So, parang ganito yung so engineering strain natin, sigma is equal to sigma L over L naught. Tapos, ang sabi sa problem is if we are moving the crosshead by 0.2 per minute, then yun yung change in length niya. Okay? So, moving siya by 0.2 and yung original natin na gauge length is 2 inches. Therefore, yung strain natin after 1 minute will be equal to 0.1. Tama? So this is the strain after 1 minute. So if you express this as a rate, then magiging ano lang siya, 0.2, 0.1 strain, unitless siya per minute. Parang ganyan. Okay? So kaya ganito yung final answer niya. So that's engineering strain, no? So dapat pala lagyan natin ng sub-E to. Okay? I-correct ko na lang tong mga slides na to, no? So explicitly lalagay ko na lang class kung sub-E or sub-T siya. Pero itong sa slides na to, this is mostly saying na ano, no? Lahat ng walang sub-T is an engineering na strain. Tapos kung may sub-T, yun yung true strain. Okay? So if our engineering strain is equal to 0.1, then we can relate it with our we relate it to the Orowan's equation. And from the Orowan's equation, kaya na natin ma-solve tong ah, yung yung velocity na to, no? Although, some may argue na when using the Orowan's equation, dapat naka-convert siya into ano, no? Naka-convert dapat to into your true strain rates. Okay? Sige, i-review ko na lang din tong problem na to. Bibigyan na lang ko ng once I release this handouts, no, nakasulat na yung tamang ano nito. Yung tamang solution niya. Okay? So, meron pa tayong other examples, no? So, yung other examples, pwedeng ipakita ko na lang yung solution niya. So, ilalagay ko na lang sa handouts tapos para maka-follow kayo kung paano yung solution. Tapos lagay na lang ako ng mga konting subtext, no, or mga notes na explaining why we did those steps, no, para mas masundan niyo siya once naka-handout form na siya. Okay? So, unfortunately, ubos na yung oras natin, no? 11:30 na. So, I think we can stop here. Tapos, again, i-review ko yung mga solutions dito. Tapos, lagyan ko na lang ng mga notes, no? To explain why we took those necessary steps to find the solution of the problem. Okay? Okay lang ba yun?